Recording in progress.
Good afternoon, honorable members. Good afternoon to the representatives of the department who are in the session today. Let me also greet all stakeholders who are joining us today. The time is 1 minute past 2 o'clock, and I think we should commence with our meeting. May I ask the Secretariat to please put up the notice of the meeting and the agenda, please?
Afternoon, Chairperson.
Yes, Madam. I'm hoping everybody on the platform has recovered from GovTech. I hear it was quite rough on the body and the mind. Let's not focus on the body and the mind as well. I'm not sure if anybody from CETA is here, but to echo the sentiments of the members of the Portfolio Committee for the invitation, the appreciation for the invitation to CETA. I think that the members were of one voice, and noting with encouragement, that firstly that GovTech as a premier platform for collaboration, engagement, and networking has returned. But secondly, the standard of, the participants, the exhibitors that were there. Yes, I think there were some glitches with coordination and organizing, which we hope that will be taken care of in the next installment. We've also noted with appreciation that there was a commitment made to develop a commitment tracker and obviously to ensure that GovTech was not a talk shop, but rather that the issues that were discussed there do become actionable and we're able to see results. So thank you very much to CETA and the department for that invitation. Honorable members, there's the agenda. In front of you, the first item on the agenda is the adoption of the third term program. Maybe just to indicate that we had initially presented this agenda when we met in the strategic planning session at the beginning of the month. There were changes that we requested to be made, largely based on scheduling issues. We're really trying very hard to ensure that we do not encroach into the time that other members need to dedicate to other committees. So as and when we do, I appeal with members to understand that we really had no option but to go that route. In the meantime, we have sought to suggest, as we have done today, that we should use Friday afternoons rather, because we do have members who are part of SCOAG on Friday morning, and Thursdays we'll try and steer clear from them as much as is humanly possible. Now, members will know that next week we are rising for constituency period on the 22nd, but with the last day being the 19th. So the program, in terms of adoption, it's just one item, which I think we had adopted anyway, but we will just put it up again for the sake of completeness, and given the fact that we have, removed anything else that had been on those dates. Then the second item is the adoption of the minutes of the meeting of the 8th of July. Presentation by the DCDT on the digital startup ecosystem, a presentation on the state of readiness for analog switch off, and then the proposed legislative program within the medium term by the department. Finally, the consideration of the committee report on the third and fourth quarter expenditure and financial performance. Colleagues, we are probably not going to go through this entire agenda given the time that we've got. But I want to propose that once we've adopted the agenda, we'll take the first two items, discuss them. Sorry, the first two, number 3 and 4, discuss them, and then we'll take number 5. We will see whether by that time at 5 o'clock we're still able to take the consideration of the adoption of the committee report, or we'll have to refer it to the next meeting. So with all of that being said, please may I request a mover for the adoption of the agenda? Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Bodlani. You move. Thank you, Honorable Subrathi. You second. Hajira, I think you forgot to include apologies here. Can we also take any apologies if we have any for this meeting?
Chairperson, we have apologies for the Minister, the Deputy Minister, and also Ms. Bodlani will leave at 14:30, Chair.
Thank you. Can we have the reasons for the apologies? We can't just note, we need to understand why they're not here.
Will do, Chair. The Minister has a prior commitment and the Deputy Minister is in Rustenburg at the moment. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. I suppose we have not called for adoption of apologies, so we will note them. Hajira, then can we go straight into the first item then on the agenda, which is just a reconfirmation of the program as it stands. So that is the program, honorable members, with today and that particular agenda item. The next item, Hajira, it's next Tuesday, which is the 16th of September, which is meant to be a joint sitting with the Portfolio Committee on Basic Education. This meeting was supposed to take place quarterly, and I think due to scheduling challenges with the DBE, we did not have one last quarter. So that is all on the adoption. Can I just get reconfirmation from members that we're happy with the program for the term as it stands?
Honorable Shonga Chair, I'm happy.
Thank you, Honorable Shongwe and Honorable Botlani. I think Honorable Subrathi, I saw your thumbs up as well. Hajira, please put up and then we go through the minutes of the 8th of July. Lead us in those minutes, please.
One second, Chairperson. Chairperson, we have minutes Tuesday, 8th of July. It was a simple process of just the consideration and adoption of our budget vote report, Chairperson. We have the attendance of officials, the opening. We also adopted outstanding minutes. And then just to say on that day, we adopted the DCDT budget vote with the EFF reserving its vote on the report. And that is about it, Chairperson, and a few other outstanding matters that came up.
Thank you very much. Can you just go up, please, Hajira? Thank you. Colleagues, those are the minutes of the 8th of July. Can I have a mover for the adoption of the minutes? Thank you, Honorable Bodlani, and thank you, Honorable Subrathi. Can we then now go into the substantive item on the agenda, being the first one around the digital startup ecosystem? Am I correct, Hajira? Sorry, I don't have it open in front of me. I guess I am. Maybe just in terms of introduction, colleagues, I requested. Thank you very much. I requested that we bring this item onto the agenda, which is really trying to deal with the existence or lack thereof of a digital startup ecosystem in the country. I think we will all have a common appreciation that a digital startup ecosystem really refers to, I suppose, the interdependence, the cooperation, collaboration, both from government, from educational institutions, from investors, and ultimately access to market that any person wanting to start up in the industry. I think we had a discussion, we're deliberating whether a digital startup and ICT SMME is necessarily the same thing, but we're hoping that through this presentation, the department can take us through how they understand that entire ecosystem. What, if anything, and any support does a young person, old person, whoever it is, wanting to succeed in the digital world, what sort of framework and ecosystem does government have in place? So I'm not sure, I didn't see the DG if she is here. My apologies, I did not acknowledge her, but I will assume she's here and leading the delegation. Over to you.
Yes, Chair.
Thank you very much. You're welcome, DG. With your team, you may proceed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, and a very good afternoon to you, Chair, as well as the honorable members on the platform. Also want to greet our entities who are also on the platform. Chair, I'm going to request Ms. Jeanette Morana to take us through the first presentation, and then after which we will come back and do the other presentations as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon, honorable members and the DG. Just loading up the presentation. Apologies. Thank you, honorable members, Chair DG, and colleagues. So the presentation is focusing on the ICT SMME strategy, the progress that we have achieved so far, the challenges that we have sort of picked up as a department as we implement this strategy in terms of building a sustainable digital ecosystem for our startups. So the presentation will look at the background, the policy context, the actual strategy in terms of the objectives that we were looking at achieving, the vision goals, as well as objectives, and some of the programs that we have implemented as part of the strategy, and then lastly, the challenges and proposals going forward. So in terms of the background, the department developed this ICT SMME strategy back then in 2015 while we were still the Department of Telecommunications and Postal Services. And it was ultimately approved by Cabinet in 2017. And as part of developing the strategy, we engaged broadly with different stakeholders, meaning the SMMEs themselves through the associations that represent them, as well as through the academia, the private sector, and different government departments. And we were also closely working with the Department of Small Business Development to align with their priorities as well, but taking into account that this strategy is mainly focusing on our sector. And some of the key issues that we were looking at is to say, the ICT sector is highly concentrated. It also contributes significantly to the GDP. So how do we then make sure that we create a specific part of the market to sustain some of the SMMEs that are within the sector? we were also looking at issues around the high cost to communicate, an enabling policy and regulatory environment. We were also looking at some of the challenges SMMEs are facing when they come up with innovations and how they can then commercialize those innovations. Some of the other issues we're looking at is in terms of market access, where you find that SMMEs come up with good ideas, good innovations, but when it comes to commercializations, they are not able to then penetrate because the market is dominated by big players. And also we looked at issues around the skewed deployment of infrastructure. And other critical areas that needed to be addressed by this strategy was the lack of appropriate incentive schemes to support the SMMEs, lack of a central comprehensive database of ICT SMMEs. We found that there were a lot of SMMEs scattered across the country, but we did not have a view of where they are and what they are doing. The other issue was lack of appropriate skills and entrepreneurial capabilities. And lastly, a non-existence of coordination and integration mechanisms. So this strategy was then developed to address with intent some of these key challenges. And as I mentioned, it was ultimately then approved by Cabinet. And to provide further policy context, some of the issues is that the SMME sector has seen a panacea of socioeconomic development, and the National Development Plan envisages that small businesses should also then expected to contribute to 11 million jobs by 2030. And the government's 9-point plan was also calling for the prioritization of interventions to support the SMMEs, cooperatives, and other rural enterprises. So there was then a need and importance of developing markets for SMMEs to support them through interventions like sustainable incubators. And through the National ICT Integrated Policy White Paper of 2016, it also called for the department to then set up interventions where we can then sort of at the national level bridge the prevailing universal access gap and create a sustainable market for the SMMEs. The strategy was also aligned to the National Small Enterprise Act of 1996. And also at the time, the Department of Small Business Development was established. So there was a need also to make sure that we align with their priorities as well. And one of the key issues also within the sector is the issue that when it comes to procurement of goods and services within government, we find that SMMEs are not privileged because when the calls come out or the tenders come out, you find that big players are able to have an advantage because they have experience, they have capability and also capital to then be able to deliver on those. And you find that the SMMEs are disadvantaged. So there's a need to then look at the preferential procurement policy framework to look at how through this policy we can create ways where we can then make sure that the SMMEs are also then accommodated. And one of the interventions is the 30% set aside intervention. The Electronics Communications Act as well also calls for the support of the SMME. So at the policy level, these are some of the key policy interventions that are supporting this work. In terms of the strategy, the aim was to create an enabling environment for ICT SMMEs in South Africa to be innovative, technology-driven, sustainable, and internationally competitive, contributing to job creation and economic growth. And the goal of the strategy was to unlock business opportunities to create an enabling business and administrative environment for SMMEs in the ICT sector to thrive and to advance into successful and sustainable entities. The objectives of the strategy, there were three key ones. The first one being to firstly facilitate the accelerated growth and entry of SMMEs, particularly youth and women entrepreneurs in the ICT sector. Secondly, to increase uptake and usage of ICTs by South African nation as a whole, and especially by SMMEs across all sectors of the economy. And lastly, to establish a coordinated and integrated planning mechanism for the development of ICT SMMEs within the broader national plans. So coming back to the first objective of facilitating the accelerated growth and entry of SMMEs as a department, we then implemented some key programs to achieve this objective. We ran programs that looked at capacity development of our SMMEs. We created the Internet Service Provider program and ran workshops in partnerships with our entities, which is NEMISA, .ZETNA, and some of the key district municipalities, for example, that are part of the NHI sites, which is the OR Tambo, district municipality, Thabo Mfutsanyane, Umgungundlovu, etc. And the program reached about 269 beneficiaries in total. And it was a combination of individuals as well as SMME representative. From the SMMEs, we were able to reach 145 SMME representatives. There was also a capacity building program around cell phone repairs initiated by the department in partnership with Technology Innovation Agency, Tshwane University of Technology through technology station programs in electronics, with the aim of imparting this skill so that the individuals can then start their own businesses, and we were then able to reach around 230 beneficiaries. The program also ran with VUT, the Vaal University of Technology, along with NEMISA as well, and it was also able to reach different provinces: KwaZulu-Natal, Limpopo, Free State, Eastern Cape, Western Cape, Northern Cape, and Mpumalanga. So those are some of the key capacity building programs that we ran. It also then continued with other partners as well, including Samdara, which is an association, NEMISA and TVET colleges, and also reaching out to more provinces as well. The other program that we ran is the fiber deployment and Wi-Fi program, where we partnered with Wireless Access Provider Association. The program was in 2019, training about 103 SMMEs to capacitate them so that they can also become providers in the area of fiber deployment and Wi-Fi. We then also had some programs dedicated to women in partnership with Standard Bank and Technology Innovation Agency, focusing on capacitating about 60 women who are running SMMEs in skills around 3D printing, assembling, and also making sure that we run hackathons to make sure that they're then able to implement the skills that they acquired. Continuing with some of the programs as well, we also ran some capacity building programs with partners such as Uber, focusing on technology for safety for about 50 university students. We also had programs dedicated for women with Huawei, where we were targeting about 40 women on an annual basis. And then in 2022, we started a program dedicated mainly for SMMEs that are sort of tech startup SMMEs. So these are the SMMEs that have developed some form of innovation in the digital space, and they could be in any part of the value chain, whether they have already developed an innovation and created a prototype, or they have an idea and they want to start developing that idea into an actual technology innovation. We then did a call because we realized that there was a lot of skill across the country, a lot of innovators. So we did a call for these innovators to submit their innovations, and we created a platform, an online platform, which is Digitech, and we received quite a number of proposals, and we sort of went through them. We engaged with them, had meetings with them to find out at what part of commercialization or at what stage of commercialization they are, and we selected some of them, and that is how we then started this Digitech program. So the objective was firstly to create a database of these technology innovators, so that we know where they are based in the country, and also what kind of challenges that they are facing, so that we can then start setting up interventions on how we can support them. So the key objectives of the program is to support digital innovators, and then also enhance market access for them, assist them with commercialization of their innovations, but also help them with developing critical digital skills, because you find them that some of them have very good technical background, they know how to develop technologies, etc., but they lack in the area of business skills, so to then be able to take their businesses forward. And we then realized that for us to achieve this big goal of helping these SMMEs to commercialize their innovations, we will not be able to do it alone as government. We then engage on an individual basis with different companies in the sector that already have sort of business incubation programs or business accelerator programs, to partner with them, so that we can then leverage on their infrastructure and the capacity that they have, so that they can then support these SMMEs. So we then set up some partnerships. The initial ones were with Microsoft, Huawei, Cisco Systems, and others then followed. Then we were able to then match these innovators with the different companies. For example, those that are innovating in the area of innovations that are in the broadband connectivity space, will match them with companies like Huawei or Cisco, and those that are in the software development space will match them with companies like Google and Microsoft. And that's how the program was then able to grow to a point where we now currently have on our database about 200 SMMEs that are assisted. The key provinces that we are currently having on the database is Gauteng, which has a high concentration of these innovators. We also have Limpopo, Western Cape, Northern Cape, and KwaZulu-Natal. And we continuously making sure that we reach out to the SMMEs and also reach out to the incubators that are hosting these SMMEs to make sure that we broaden the scope to reach the rest of the other provinces. And the success for this program was mainly around collaborating with other government departments, working with the Department of Science, Technology and Innovation, Department of Small Business Development, working with the private sector. We've also reached out to Venture Capital Association of South Africa to understand what is it exactly that they are looking for when they want to fund startups in the tech space. So we are also building a relationship with them to make sure that our SMMEs are then able to access funding. We also reached out to academia as well to help SMMEs that do not have infrastructure to use some of the labs that are at the universities to then build the prototype. So that's how we're then able to build this sort of successful and sustainable digital innovation ecosystem that can support our startups. The program, as I mentioned, we developed the platform. We experienced some challenges at the beginning, and the platform was then redesigned, but it's now running smoothly and updated on a regular basis. The success of the program has not only been recognized locally, it has been recognized also internationally, where we have won about 3 awards. It started off first in the G20 India presidency, where we sent 6 of our SMMEs to participate at the G20 Digital Innovation Competition, and one of the winners won the award. And then last year, we started participating in the ITU WSIS 20 Global competition, and we also won an award where the program was recognized for being one of the good digital innovation ecosystem programs that supports startups in the digital space. Yes, so those are the 3 awards. We won one last year at ITU and another one this year at the WSIS conference. And I think in the past 2 days at the CETA GovTech conference, 2 of our SMMEs also won the awards at the Public Service Award held by CETA. And in terms of some of the case studies for Digitech, we have one. The gentleman came into Digitech with a fintech solution, but ultimately sort of readjusted his business and decided to focus on artificial intelligence, where he looked at developing an Optimus robot. He started off first with 3 of these robots, but through the support of the program, he was put in touch with Microsoft, and he was able to secure a sort of business and then be able to expand. And recently, he also secured a transaction with ABSA, where he is providing these robots at about 70 branches at ABSA Bank branches. So the business has really grown over the period of 3 years. The second one is SoftMeat. It's also a tech startup where they developed a SoftMeat platform similar to, it's a video conferencing system similar to Zoom that we're using, or Microsoft Teams. and they are now have created partnerships with MTN to then provide this as a dataless marketplace, and they are now partnering also with the Gauteng Department of Education, where they are providing this platform for about 150,000 learners to then use this for learning purposes and not be charged for any costs for data. They've also been able to secure funding from IBM South Africa to help them expand their operations. So the gentleman started off first with himself and one employee, and I think they are currently employing about 40 employees in their business. So it shows that there is growth from that perspective. We also have an innovator, BossPay. They are in the cryptocurrency space, where they developed a cryptocurrency system focusing on the fintech space. And through the Digitech program, they were then able to participate in a BRICS meeting and create linkages with businesses in Russia, and have been able to secure business opportunities with several million rands, and also securing some partnerships with banks as well as payment providers. And last year this year we took 3 SMMEs to London Tech Week through the partnership with the British High Commission as well. And one of the companies, Smarty, were then able to clinch deals as well. So since then, she indicated that she's been able to expand the business, employ more software developers, I think about 9 software developers, to then be able to service this demand that she's getting from the new businesses that she secured. And this is MedSol. It's an AI business. This is the one that first won the award at the G20 competition in India. It's an AI solution that helped to detect breast cancer, and she focuses mainly on rural women, because in rural areas you'd find someone who would have breast cancer and not be aware. So she works with rural clinics to then be able to real-time detect this breast cancer, and the patients are then able to receive medical attention. And by participating in the G20 competition, she's been able to partner with companies in Brazil and other countries that participated in the competition, and her business has been able to see a growth in terms of value of about 4 million rands. So these are some of the case studies that we selected just to demonstrate how the program is impacting some of these tech startups. And the other program that we have as part of this implementation of the strategy is in the audiovisual space, where the department partnered with NEMISA, Google, and the National Film and Video Foundation, where they launched the audiovisual content program, focusing on content developers. So to capacitate these content developers to understand what it is to be a content developer, but also train them, be able to run the business part of it. The program ran as a pilot, targeting youth, women, and persons with disabilities. And they partnered with the Mulema District Municipality in the Northwest Province, starting off with training, engaging 100 aspiring creators, and they were then able to have about 27 participants graduating in June this year. It started this year, and the expectation that they will then get more partners and then be able to grow the program. So this is mainly focusing on imparting people with digital skills, and then they can then use those skills to create businesses for themselves and help us achieve addressing this issue of unemployment among our youth. Then in terms of looking forward as a department, we realized that we have all these different programs running in different aspects. So we are looking at a process where we are trying to then consolidate all of this and make sure that we have a comprehensive digital startup ecosystem. And here, this is where we are now working with the ITU in terms of establishing an African Digital Transformation Center. So the center will then help us to then look at the different policies and sort of come up with sort of foresight roadmaps to say in the next 10 years, what is it that we want to achieve in the area of digital startup ecosystem, and also look at the different emerging technologies to say when it comes to AI, which areas could be areas where we can create opportunities for the startups to then grow, or in the area of cloud computing, the area of drone technology. How can we create a drone technology platform where SMMEs can thrive and build businesses in that space? So we are currently working with ITU to finalize a business case around the center, and then make sure that we launch the center and also start building partnerships. For example, with the artificial intelligence area, build partnerships with the already existing AI hubs. And then be able to service these startups on the different technology areas. And I think in terms of objectives, two, in terms of increasing uptake and usage of ICTs by the South African nation, specifically by SMMEs. We also had a digital skills program focusing on capacitating our SMMEs. We've had programs looking at cloud computing and digital marketing, where we've reached quite a number of beneficiaries. And in the current financial year, we have a program that ran in May, focusing on cybersecurity, reaching about 143 beneficiaries. We also had one on 5G training, reaching about 245 beneficiaries partnering with Huawei. And with regards to establishing coordinated and integrated planning mechanism for the development of ICT SMMEs, the department is currently sort of working with different partners, as I mentioned, Department of Small Business Development, along with their entities like CETFA, the Technology Innovation Agency. We are engaging with them and trying to finalize a memorandum of understanding, because they look at funding SMMEs and startups in the tech space. The Innovation Hub as well, TVET colleges, Department of Higher Education and Training on the skilling area, NEMISA as well. And also we are continuously working with our private sector partners to leverage on their existing programs. So as I mentioned, we already have some MOUs in place, and we're trying to expand the number of partners that we can reach. The strategy was approved, as I mentioned, in 2017, sorry, and we sort of, as I said, looking at different programs on how we can then consolidate everything that we have implemented, and I think the center through the ITU will help us achieve that. We have some budgetary constraints as some of the key inhibitors, but through some of the partnerships that I have mentioned, we're then able to implement it at scale. So with the current programs that we have, we will then be able to then develop a business case through the center and cost it and make a request so that we are then able to expand the numbers, because with some countries you find that they're able to reach thousands and thousands of SMMEs, whereas in the country we're still talking about very low numbers. So I think by consolidating all these programs and having a clear program through the Digital Transformation Center, will then be able to have a clear roadmap to then be able to achieve more SMMEs with clear interventions and through partnerships as well. So that is our presentation. Thank you very much, DG. Over back to you.
Thank you very much. And Chair, please give guidance. Can we then move to the next presentation, or would we pause here to take questions?
We're going to move to the next presentation as I'd indicated, but can I please request that the next presenter doesn't follow Ma'am Morwane's example, because we had said that presentation should not be more than 30 minutes. So can I request that the presenter on the BDM tries to also make up for lost time there? Just one thing, DG, before you call the next presenter, can you give us the name of the address for the website for Digitech, and then you can call the next presenter. Thanks.
Jeanette, please go ahead with the address.
It's www.digitech.gov.za. Thank you.
Thank you. You may proceed, DG.
Thank you very much. I'd like to now invite DDG Sono and Dr. Mutubi to take us through the BDM. And yes, Chair, we will keep to time. Thank you.
DG Sono, are you winning? Mr. Sono? Colleagues, are you still in the meeting, or am I missing something?
No, you are, Chair, and I think he's got rights. I'm just wanting to check what's happening.
DG, through you, Chair, if Sono is not there, I can take the committee through the presentation.
Yes, please. Please go ahead, Dr. Mutubi.
To try, where do I share from news to Teams? Please, if you can share the presentation. I saw Zaytun sharing the presentation. Thank you, Chairperson, and good afternoon. I will be taking you through the presentation informed by the previous report that we have presented to the committee. The presentation takes into account the progress made since the last committee meeting. I think it was in November. Please go to the next slide. In terms of the background, Chair, the report that we presented in the last committee took into account the work that we have done until the November. This was before determination of the analog switch off postponement by cabinet. So the report in this regard will also take into account the progress made after, again, post the court judgment that were laid by the courts by the High Court in March 2025.
Sorry, could I ask that Zaytun puts the presentation on presentation mode, please? Thank you. You may continue.
Thank you, Chair.
Apologies.
Yes, Chair, what we are also indicating or highlighting on the background is that there's been a number of times that the government has made commitment to conclude the process, but happened to be challenged by the litigations, and that is what we will talk to. In light of that, the minister has established a steering committee with stakeholders involved in the implementation of the program, which is chaired by the minister himself, and which meets on a weekly basis. Can we go to the next slide? So, Chair, the minister, as I have indicated, and led by minister and the DG and the DDG, we have from the department established an ASO acceleration we call it ASO acceleration program that looks into fast tracking any element of the implementation of the program. So in this regard, Chair, the minister has tasked that post court judgment, the minister has tasked the department legal team to engage with the legal counsel to explore non-litigious settlement or out of court settlement with ETV, for an example. The engagements is currently underway, and the legal teams are meeting on a regular basis to deliberate on this matter. The minister also established an initiative that I indicated earlier that looks into fast tracking any implementation of individual intervention on the program. These process focuses mainly on ensuring that we have sufficient installer capacity, we have an effective distribution and installation mechanism on the ground, we have a process that is taking stock of households that are registering. We are ensuring that there is procurement and it's effective from the procurement and the delivery of the decoders, and ensuring that we are having a funding process analyzed to determine the available funding and the potential shortfall, as we have also done so and engaged National Treasury. The four bullets, Chair, provide summary of where we started. We are working on a target of 447,815 households. To date, we have, at the time of the report, or of the generation of this report, we had 226,741 with an outstanding households of 221. I can indicate, Chair, that we have made progress in that regard, and we continue meeting on a weekly basis to review, to receive progress and review interventions to enhance capacity in terms of installers and increase the run rate to migrate households. Next slide. Yeah, Chair, this slide just reflect or project the plan that we're working against. When I indicated meeting on a weekly basis, this is informed by this plan. Maybe for sake of time, we can proceed so that I can provide update regarding the implementation of this plan. The next slide. Yeah, Chair, with respect to the enablers for household migration, decoder distribution, and installation, we need capacity of installers, and in this process, there are two key issues, strategic issues that has happened. The first one is to capacity of installers. Centec has increased the number of installers by at least 461 installers between February and May 2025. The other strategic issue was to review and increase the installation fee to align with that of the industry, because installers were not interested in taking our work. And as a result, the installation fee has increased and was started to be implemented from the 1st of June 2025. This has also led to the monitoring of installation process on a weekly basis. The installation run rate remain a focal point because of us having to migrate the 447,000 households. This meeting also focused on issues and risks and mitigation interventions that require attention to ensure effective delivery of the program. With respect to the decoder distribution, so one critical element was that of the stock sitting in the SAPO warehouse. And in that regard, by the time of the report, we had 27,435 already depleted from the post offices and related warehouses. In terms of procurement, the additional decoder that were procured in February, 100,000, were delivered in full, and we are in the process of acquiring 81,222 against the 447,000 target. Next slide. Chair, this is the funding analysis that we have conducted against the total number of households presented to court to fulfill the funding. The current funding will satisfy the 447 in terms of decoder distribution and installation. However, due to the additional households that have registered between 2024 December and now, or the time of the report, there is a shortfall of 803,660,000. This is the funding that we have submitted to National Treasury for consideration on the 8th of August 2025. Next slide. Chair, we conduct stakeholder engagement consultation on a regular basis, and in this regard, the minister engaged the broadcasters and entities involved in the implementation process with an intent to inform the stakeholders about the cabinet decision of December and to identify key interventions to accelerate execution of the plan. And in this regard, 3 stakeholder engagements has happened since December 2024. In terms of the stakeholder consultation after the court ruling, Minister plans to engage stakeholders to reach an out of court settlement, engage the deadline for concurrence on new registration date, because we are currently continuing to register households, and if we do not stop, the number will continue, and that has financial implication. And also to share progress on the households since the court ruling. How many households have we installed, registered, and the plan? The next slide. Chair, before the determination of the 447, there was an exercise which was critical to conduct the to ensure data accuracy and repackaging data according to provinces, district, and local municipalities. So this work was carried out by SETA on the system that that interacts with the Home Affairs system to verify physical addresses, confirm contact numbers where it was required, repackage the data according to municipalities, and taking this data, onboarding this data into an app, because Centec is currently employing a new industry-based model where installers are using applications to conduct installations, including identification of households through that and also to ensure delivery schedule of set-top boxes. Chair, this data was packaged and we're using that data to install households. Next slide. Consumer awareness, Chair, as well, was one of the, it's always one of the key enablers of this program. We continue to do this work across board. We are engaging through districts and local municipalities. SABC and broadcasters continued to do this work until the 31st of March, and due to funding, we could not extend the service level agreements. However, the Department Project Management Office continues to engage with stakeholders on the ground through local municipalities and traditional authorities. So those are provinces that at the time of the report were engaged: Northwest, KZN, Western Cape, Mpumalanga, and Limpopo. And you would note, Chair, just to clarify, the reason why you might find others not having been consulted is because extensively is because of the low numbers of registered households. The intention is to focus on provinces that has high numbers of registered households because we are installing those. In terms of awareness, after court ruling, I've indicated contracts could not be extended due to funding issues, and the department continues to work with local structures. Next slide. Chair, this is just a summary of the installer enhancement from 1004 to 1465 spread across the provinces. Next slide. And Chair, this is a summary of the registered households since December 2024. At the time of this report, there were 59,734 that were walk-ins into post offices, and the additional 13,000 leading to 72,972 households. So that is the spread per province. Next slide. Yeah, Chair, also reflecting from the previous slide, this is a data that we are tracking on a weekly basis, from registered households to installations that are carried out by the installers. This one reflects the installations that we are monitoring on a daily basis. So Centec monitors this work of the installers on a daily basis through the app, and on a weekly basis, twice from the PMO and that meeting of the minister will track the progress with respect to the installations. So this slide just reflects or demonstrate how the monitoring process is undertaken. Next slide. Yeah, this one also shows how we then track on a weekly basis the installations from different provinces against the target. The far left reflects the target that is set for Centec to carry out in a week, and the green one shows the installations that has happened for that month. And the next one is a variance that happen to be spread across different remaining months for the purpose of ensuring that we do not go beyond the target timeline. Next slide. The monthly target, similar to the one of registrations, we consolidate the work of daily, weekly into, and this is where we have derived to the numbers of 224 installed households and the 221 outstanding households. So this work is monitored weekly, daily, weekly, and on a monthly basis, and we are able to report accordingly. The next slide. Yeah, Chair, again, we conduct analysis with an intent to have to check on where could be the problem. Which period, for an example, you will have a period where there are rains and other challenges. So we conduct analysis, trend analysis on a weekly basis and monthly basis to check on the performance. So this is what we use a 5-day period to assess the installation rate, so that when we meet, we have to look at what are the challenges that we experienced to improve performance in that regard. The next slide. Here we are confronted by instances where installers are unable to identify or to locate households, and for different reasons, one of which some people are residing in informal settlements, which is difficult to identify them. Secondly, some have migrated or relocated from one area to the other. So that forms about 95% of the cancellations of installations. However, when this happens, we get data of those that were cancelled, the local municipalities to assist in locating those households, because they remain in that, they stay in those areas. They know the corners of those residential areas. The remaining chair is that there are some households that, when installers land into their households, indicate that they are no longer interested on the device. One reason being the channel bouquet is different from that of other pay platforms. Next slide. Chair, the challenges, one I have indicated above. In rural areas, the installers has to spend some time working from one village to the other. The instances of not finding households because of the addresses where people have indicated to be residing, and when one get there, they are not able to find them.
Are you done, sir, or are you not finding your own way back into the meeting?
But in this
I think it's a network issue. Dr. Mutubi, we're losing you.
regard, the councillors are indeed playing a role. So we have also employed in our beneficiaries and litigation by broadcasters on ASO, and in this regard, we can indicate it is informed by the challenge. So this challenge is being mitigated. We are doing through the minister as well.
Okay, this was the last slide, so I'm assuming that we got the gist of what the Gok doctor had to say. I've seen you.
First, the legal team to engage. The next slide. submission in terms of the report.
I hope uyayibona in-need ukuthi ba-installe kahle ema-rural ngoba I think use-rural his network is bad.
That's fine. Mr. Sono, I had seen your apology. If there's anything you want to add, you have 1 minute to do so. Mr. Sono is also having connectivity challenges. Nothing from Mr. Sono. DG, anything from your side, just to round up?
No, Chair. As we indicated, I mean, this project, we're keen to conclude on it. We're hoping that as we reach the settlement with the broadcasters, we'll be able to path the way forward on it. The minister and the department are very intentional to close this gap. But we'll stand ready, Chair, to respond to any queries or questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, there are the two presentations from the department. The first one on the digital startup ecosystem, and then the second one on the progress towards analog switch off. I know that we've lost a couple of members, and I think we're going to have to rethink this issue of Friday afternoons. We do have a series of questions from Mr. Honorable Ngubane of MKP that I believe have been sent to the department, but we'll also just take some of them. Let me see hands, honorable members. Anybody who wants to come in on the two presentations? Honorable Nchabeleng, you will be the first. Honorable Singh, you will follow him. And Honorable Shongwe. We will take any other members as they come through. Honorable Nchabeleng, you have the floor.
Chair, thank you so much for the opportunity to present, and more than anything else, to catch up on the presentation on what was discussed. I think from our side, the most important question to ask here is that the last presentation, the department has indicated that they are targeting to cover 147. What has been the overall, and I would like this to be interactive so that we can get quick and in and answers. What has been the overall target in respect to delivering this particular, finalization of the installation of GTT? How many registrations have happened since the program started, and how many have been fulfilled in respect to the current, installation target of 147? I assume the current 147 is just for this year. How much has been done with regards to the whole installation?
Sorry, Honorable Nchabeleng, we normally take a series of questions and get them to respond. So if you could please proceed.
Okay, fine. It is difficult to proceed because I don't know the numbers. I wanted to interject during the presentation so that I can just maybe have a clarity, because we're trying to understand how far this program is at and what it is. But I'm going to make an assumption. If the current installation target for the overall program has been 447 for the GTT, and maybe the good doctor can indicate if I'm right or wrong by just saying yes or no,
The sense of the numbers, colleagues, I think that's an easy enough question. DG, can you give us the overall number for the installations? DG, are you still with us? Alternatively, Dr. and Mr. Sono, can you give us the overall number, please?
Yeah. Good afternoon, Chair. This presentation focused on the outstanding number of 447. This was the outstanding number by the time of determination of analog switch off in December.
Give us the
okay, but how many have been installed since the beginning of the program?
Chair, may I, through you?
Yes, please do respond so we can proceed.
Yeah, Chair, I wanted to request that we provide that data because I don't have it on my hand. I don't want to
Doc,
give a wrong
Doc,
data.
give us an estimated number, please. Give us an estimated
Yeah, we
number.
just need the numbers.
That
What has been installed in all the communities throughout South Africa throughout the whole program of the migration process of this set-top boxes?
Yeah, Chair, we are looking at the registration of to the range of 1.8 million, and against that 1.6 million have been installed against the registered households.
Okay. No, thank you so much for that information. Yeah, if that is the case, right? If you are currently looking, the current South African indigent household, Doc, is something around 9.5 million houses, which means the program is not even reaching almost 20% of its target of the indigent household. The uptake is very low, and this uptake needs to be reviewed. Our question is, at this rate, if you're only doing 1.6 million, and yet there's a cutoff in December, how are we going to get a successful, digital broadcast migration program successfully implemented when the pace of installation right now, it is at this slow pace? That's a big concern for us and a major red flag. And it's something that we want to raise very seriously to say we're quite dissatisfied with the fact that this program has been going on for all of these years. And if you were to count for this program to be rolled out successfully, it will take you about 10 years, by the way, if you're running at this level, at the 447 rate of a yearly installation. It will take actually 21 years to do this installation successfully. Does South Africa have 21 years to wait until DTT is implemented? No, we don't have that time to wait. And I think at the department side, as well as Centec, you need to prioritize the full rollout. The other issue of created with this rollout process is you don't have accessible centers. Post offices are not accessible to communities, to townships, to informal settlements that are indigent, that should be registered, that qualifies for this program, and yet are not reflected. Our people at the grassroots, in villages and communities, have already indicated to you, some are saying they are no longer interested in this particular set-top box because it doesn't comply, and it's not even compliant. You're giving them a box that is empty. This box should have been having a minimum of 100 channels for digital broadcast migration, which is either SABC to do with new stations installed on it, ETV as part of it, to including all the other varieties, soccer and everything on it. But because this program has been so problematic, you're having a situation whereby it's no longer even attractive to actually promote. The state is doing a fruitless, wasteful expenditure right now by following a DTT that is totally flawed, with no support from the broadcast side of it, with no support from the digital side of it. Yet we're spending a fortune. You're paying 665 rand per installation of a device, and you're still paying for the set-top box, the decoder, and you're paying for management program as well as the aspect of project management. So when you calculate the whole cost overall of this particular program, we realize that actually this is a huge, fruitless, wasteful expenditure. We need to come to the table. We need to sit as a committee and through the leadership of the chair say, what do we need to urgently uphold or hold up and uphold this whole particular program and make sure that we renovate it properly, we put it properly as a package, and we bring the various players together. One SABC must be brought to the table to make sure that they open licensing for new set-top box TV stations, a minimum of 100. Maximum, if they could even do better, they must put 1,000 TV stations out there for our people to create job content as well as TV programs and compete with the current multinationals such as the Koreans, such as the Brazilians, such as the Chinese that have successfully implemented this program and have done extremely well. We're the only country that has not created the jobs in digital broadcast migration because the government has been holding up the process. Unfortunately, the department on DTT has failed, on BDM has failed to deliver for our people. So we are very clear as MKP. We want this thing to touch the ordinary lives of our people. We are really no more going to be listening to excuses that there is problems to this and there's problems to that. This project has been funded already. And if more funding is required to ensure that DTT is successful, let us request for more funds so that our people are actually relieved. New DTT stations are created. New broadcast migration opportunities are created. The content industry, which is filmmaking, TV, documentaries, programs, series, the whole plateau, including government spending on advertising, community, television, etc., including the radio component, because it falls under the DCT on digital migration, is all opened up. This is not acceptable, and unfortunately, we have to go hard and tell you guys that this is the most really lethargic report we've seen, and we are going to now start hammering up on fast tracking of the delivery of this program. So on the DDT side of it, I think really it sinks our hopes if we are going to be moving at this pace. 447 target, it will take you 21 years to reach 9,500 households in respect to installation for this program. So that's number one. Can we maybe have a session, even if it's a workshop session on how we can improve the DTT rollout program to make sure that SABC is empowered, Centec is empowered in terms of the rollout, content industry, all our stakeholders in this sector are actually empowered and affected to start playing their role. ICASA is giving out licenses for new television stations that will compete in the DTT platform. That's what we need to be talking about, and that's what we need to do on that. So that's my comment on that one. The other comment I wanted to make is the first comment, the first presentation on page 17, where the department was talking about its empowerment program, that they've been empowering young people. I see on your page 17 that the people you're empowering are not even South African. The guy you featured there is not even looking like a South African entrepreneur, and yet they are benefiting from South African resources and opportunities. So I think we need to really start being, on a fine foam level. Are these people that we are creating these opportunities for South Africans to start with? If it ticks the box, we then go to the next level of ensuring. The other aspect of the program is, yes, you're doing digital skills, entrepreneurship, stimulation, helping new entrepreneurs to get into the market. Let's make sure that this plan, we can maximize the program's reach. It cannot be 10 companies and then the department goes and spends 2 billion on 10 companies in order to do that. We need to massification program. We need a massification of this project to the grassroots. Let's take what we've seen this week in the current GovTech presentations. Let's take all those solutions, let's take all those opportunities to the ground of our people, open up the centers that are needed in communities, let them learn and let them have access to this IT and ICT technologies, let them be skilled, let them be given capabilities. So far, most of what is presented is only available to a few and an exclusive few, but not to the majority of our people. So we are proposing that when one of our questions we want answered is, what is your massification program? What is the policy where you're going to massify this program to reach the grassroots and make sure that the majority of our people are touched and they are the ones that starts benefiting from this particular project? And also to ensure that the massification program is fast-tracked. If you have to partner with schools, please do the partnerships. If you have to go into communities and hire a house on the corner to use it for training, let's be innovative. Let's cut the the red tape and make sure that our people benefit, and we create these labs and innovation technologies where it is to do everything. The content environment, the aspect of ICT skills, the training skills, all of it can be coupled and made sure that our communities are beneficiaries. What was said in looking at what we saw at GovTech, which was incredibly amazing, is very little of it. If 10% of it is a lot, I can say 1% of beneficiaries are currently benefiting from the GovTech program. We need to massify the reach on the ground. Our people must have access to these technologies. The state has already subsidized, sponsored, paid for these programs. There is nothing owing except to implement the programs and to roll them out successfully. We want to see that rollout and massification of these programs. And on that basis, I just want to stop on that. Thank you so much, Jack.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Honorable Nchabeleng. Honorable members, can I give you a guideline? Ne? I didn't say it before, and that's why I allowed Honorable Nchabeleng. It's 2 presentations, so I think 5 minutes per presentation, 10 minutes in total. Please, honorable members, otherwise we will be here the whole day. The next person was Honorable Singh. Honorable Singh, you've got the platform.
Thank you, Chairperson. And thank you for those presentations. Chair, yes, on the second presentation, I think we all have our concerns, and perhaps the future reports to us will hopefully show a lot more progress. Chair, my comments on the first presentation. We heard talk about wanting a complete database of SMMEs, and coming from the portfolio of small business development, it was something that we had requested there, and I think that this must be given priority. It's not just to know where these businesses are, but it's also to actually coordinate funding for SMMEs. Because I know on oversight visits that we visit beneficiaries who have been funded by the Department of Small Business Development. They've also then been funded by the Department of Agriculture, the Department of Arts and Culture. So I think we need to have a database that the whole of government can use, and we need to look at those initiatives. My second comment, Chair, is that obviously we have the advantage with having large tech partners who provide very, very good skills, impart very good skills and knowledge to some of our emerging entrepreneurs. And we saw that at GovTech, where we engaged with some of these like Microsoft emerging partners and some of the other entrepreneurs. And they've become now sustainable businesses. And that's what we actually need. But I see some of our programs where we have assisted people and beneficiaries from 2018. I think they gave us figures 2018, 2019, and then subsequent years. What's been given to us is the number of people that have been helped. And I think for me, what is a lot more important is the impact of what we are doing. And we must be able to measure the impact. And considering the portfolio we belong to, it should be easy enough for us to develop a system that should make tracking these beneficiaries really easy. Because when we invest in them, we want to make sure that they are successful, they are sustainable, they can create employment, because we need those jobs in the country, and we need more entrepreneurs. And ours is a sector that can actually deliver on that. So there has to be something that measures the impact, because at any given time, if we are monitoring the beneficiaries, then at any given time, if we see that they are faltering, interventions can be then timeously done to assist those, if possible, to make them viable. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Singh. Honorable Shongwe, you'll be followed by Honorable Alicia.
Thank you, Chair. Sawubona Chair namalunga we-committee nama-officials. Chair, at first I would like to thank GovTech for host and ukusiphatha kahle eThekwini. Indeed, there is a need for GovTech, and we saw that it was welcomed by a lot of people. However, Chair, it lacked speaking to the rural and the township people. So on that one, I would also like to ask department, who is it intended for, or who does it speak to? And it also looked like it speaks only to the mid LSM and the high LSM only, but it was a well planned, and it's highly needed, Chair. So I'll just pass on that one. But that question I would like answered, Chair. Chair, department. Actually, I wanted to start something, but let me start at the end because I'm covered by my members. I would like to put a disclaimer, Chair, on what I'm going to say. It's not me. It's a question I get when I go election, where the issue of DTT is seriously causing umonakalo ebantwini bethu South Africa, especially the content creators, those small media houses, and the broadcasters at large. The content creators are being affected by the space, so we told space. Now there is that belief, somebody in government are protecting in multi-choice, which is DSTV. Somebody's covering for DSTV. Why is there a delay yokuthi i-DTT ayiqhubeki akwenzeki lutho? There is budget ekhishwe yakhishwa before. I think from Labour Minister Move, Minister Dinapule, and there were allegations of boyfriends given tenders and all those things. Coming to now, Chair, nothing is happening. So it comes to me as umuntu ohlala elokishini as, hey, what if this is true? Because nothing is stopping this. And people believe ukuthi the reason this is being done is because it is felt that DTT will challenge in multi-choice for business. Kakhulu. As we've seen, the likes of TikToks, YouTube, and all that have dropped those numbers at the DSTV. We're not saying it must shut down. We like DSTV for what it delivers for now. But we need DTT. Che. Abantu bakithi bayayidinga lento. Che, both this the presentation by the department, it doesn't have community TV at all. Doesn't speak about community TV at all. Che. Which what is me again, che, ukuthi the importance of local broadcasters. How does the department view that as in a level of importance? Because amalokishi, rural townships and all those things, they rely on their local news, they rely on their local television. So we have, it department doesn't push that much when it comes to local television. There's no local television in Northwest, Mpumalanga, Limpopo. There is in KZN, there is in Bay, there is in Gauteng and all that. But even Gauteng has two. And the department is failing that space kakhulu, Chair. So I think that one we must look at. Chair, enhlizweni yami ngiyalimala, Chair. I'm sorry, I know this is not about this, but Chair, TikTok is taking serious billions out of the country. Facebook, nabo Instagram, they're taking serious billions. Specifically, TikTok, Chair, doesn't even give a cent to our content creators. It values itself as a space creator for our people to go fish for advertisement, to go fish for business out there. We can't be allowing this, Chair, as a department, especially as a committee, Chair. I think we must do something urgently. I saw an invite by TikTok to us. I don't welcome that kind of invite. I want TikTok to come to the parliament, Chair. Ngiyacela, Chair, in the next program makwenzeka ababizwe bazosibona bazokhuluma nathi. U-X yena ngikhuluma ngayo ubhizi uskinka nje iphone and still making billions out of that. Esimoshela ama-values wethu eSouth Africa, mosha ukuhlonipha kwethu eSouth Africa. You are sitting on the phone, yomntwana makaphasa, porn comes there, clears that. So those things, Chair, department also must also look into that, Chair. Ngiyacela. The last presenter spoke about having challenges, Chair, in installation in the rural areas. So I want to ask Shaguti, if they're having problems with that installation, how are they registering these people? If they have to go and look for an address, leave this house, go to the next house and look and look and look. Whereas we had install umakhelwane, like as we did when kwakufaka ugesi kudala emakhaya nasemalokishini. Why kushonwa le nale, Chair? I don't understand that one. I need clarification on that one, Chair. Number two, Chair, each department I also want to ask, how do you monitor impact of the programs to the SMMEs? Is there an M&E mechanism? Because, Chair, numbers don't mean nothing if they can't demonstrate economical value add. Those two must mele zihambisane, Chair. Lastly, Chair, the cell phone space, Chair, the cell phone skills, ngiyacela, Chair, they must emphasize ukuthi we train more of our South African children or youth, because that space is more of dominated by Pakistanis, mostly illegally, Chair. If, Chair, you can look at that space as well, there is an issue I have, Chair, with NEMISA trained people. You see, Chair, NEMISA trains a lot of people, but the question is, where are those people? Where are they working? What happened to those trained people? It worries me, Chair, Uguti. We train people to be consumed by a private sector. Not that we are against the development, yomuntu, Chair, Uguti must be trained, ayosebenza elsewhere. But, Chair, those people are not leaving us because they are going for greener pastures elsewhere. But they are struggling to get jobs because Tina, as government and the department is failing to create opportunities for those trained personnel. For instance, Chair, the fiber and the deployment and Wi-Fi. The last time they spoke about this thing or they interacted with this thing seriously, it was 2019. What happened from 2019 to now? The last question, Chair, is those 103 trained personnel, where are they and what happened to them? So I think, Chair, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Honorable Shongwe. Honorable Alicia, you'll be the last.
Thank you very much, Chair. I know I would like to switch off my video. I'm in the middle of something here. I know the regalia I'm wearing is not allowed.
Yes.
So I just wanted you to see I just wanted you to see that it is me. It's not AI chairperson that you are talking to. Chair, so government created this strategy years ago. My memory, reminds me of that government created this strategy years ago because we had a problem of small tech businesses that were struggling with high internet cost, right? Among other things, and funding, and big companies dominating, the market. So the goal was to create jobs and boost the economy. And I think it only makes sense maybe for ourselves to ask, what have they done? And maybe before that, Chair, we must agree that this is an old strategy, they're presenting to us. And so if this was their original plan a couple of years ago, it has been outdated and it's not updated, because I don't see anything that suggests anything new. And Chairperson, it looks like they don't even have enough budget to properly support these startups. So I see that the presentation, it does celebrate partnerships with massive national, multinational corporations like Microsoft, Google, Huawei. But maybe what then I want to ask is that, does the department not see that the primary strategy of creating junior partners, rather than fostering independent, because we want people to own. And it looks like the strategy is creating junior partners and service providers for foreign monopolies. It doesn't necessarily, or it doesn't at all, create Black-owned national champions where our people have control of their intellectual property and value chain. So maybe they can tell us what are the measures or specific measures that they are in place to ensure that the intellectual property developed by these SMMEs remain in South Africa and is owned by South Africans, right? So I think that will prevent a new form of digital colonialism. So maybe they can tell us that. They also admit, Chair, that the budgetary constraints are the biggest problem. It is their biggest problem. Yet the solution proposed is to repurpose USAF, right? And in my view, this fund is already meant to address connectivity for the poor. So why must the solution always be to reallocate existing and insufficient funds? It doesn't make sense to me. So there's no demand for a substantial new budget allocation for radical programs that will benefit particularly the Black poor. That is missing in the presentation. The training numbers are impressive on paper, Chair, but I would like to know how many of these have translated into sustainable and profitable businesses owned by Black people, particularly Black women in the township and rural areas. So I wonder if maybe they can provide us with maybe audited data on actual businesses and the survival rate and things like revenue generated, not just participation in numbers. I wonder if they can provide us with that. So another thing that I hear from them is that they blame the delay of the Public Procurement Act for not buying local solutions. So I want to know what the department itself, what is it that they themselves are doing now to mandate its own entities and all government departments to procure the services from 100% from Black-owned South African SMMEs, instead of like continuing to give like tenders to these established white-owned companies and multinationals. And maybe the last one from me, Chair, is that their strategy is fragmented, running workshops while hoping for partnerships with big capitals. So I want to know, where is the state-owned digital enterprise that should be leading this transformation? Because I think we need to have a state-owned digital enterprise that is leading this transformation, providing the anchor demand and ensuring that the wealth generated from digital is socialized for the benefit of all South Africans. Because I think everything that we then do, it should be for the benefit of all the South Africans. That's all for me, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Malisha. Honorable Subrathi and Honorable Megan, you are messing us up. And as a result, I'm going to cut your time because I had taken the list of all members who had wanted to speak. Please, can I request that you don't take too long, because I'm out of kilt now with the timing of the meeting. Honorable Subrathi?
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, let me therefore just be very, very brief. I had a few questions, but I'll just limit it to maybe 3 questions at the most, or 5 at the most, Chairperson. Maybe just to begin with regards to the presentation notes that the ICT.
Subrathi, are you able to put your video on, or?
Chairperson, I'm not in that position. I must seek your apologies. I should have told that, Chairperson. I'm not in a position to put my video on at the moment, Chairperson. Can you allow me to?
Please proceed. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, the presentation notes that the ICT SMME development strategy was approved on a 3-year period ending 2019, and its review was placed on hold. And given the rapid evolution of the digital sector, my question will be, what specific updated goals and key performance indicators is the department developing for the planned 2026-27 strategy review to ensure that it remains relevant and it remains impactful? Budgetary constraints. My second question will be, and Honorable Garisha also touched on this, that budgetary constraints have been highlighted as one of the biggest inhibitors. Now, maybe could the department provide us with a detailed breakdown of the current budget allocation for digital SMME and startup support programs, and elaborate on the concrete plans and timelines for repurposing USAF to address this funding gap? And finally, maybe my last question would be, the success of the Digitech platform is commendable. Maybe how does the department measure the long-term sustainability and the economic impact, such as job creation and revenue generation over the 200 SMMEs that have been assisted, beyond the showcase success stories of these mentioned SMMEs? Chairperson, I'll pause there. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Subrathi, and thank you so much for adhering with that directive. I know you can take a bit of time when given the time. Honorable Chauke? Honorable Chauke Adonis?
Chairperson, am I audible now?
Yes, you are, madam. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and greetings, Chairperson. Before I proceed, may I humbly request that I do keep my camera off. I am alone, so I'm unable to position my camera correctly. If I can please be given that privilege.
No problem. You may proceed, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I do apologize for coming at the end. Chairperson, for me, I think to a certain extent I've been covered, and also just by your request to keep it very short. With the presentations that have been made, just starting with the department and the impact that they've had in terms of their interventions, I think one brings to the attention that perhaps what we need is a more detailed presentation that speaks of actual physical warm bodies, but in a more structured and segregated format, for us to really see the type of impact that the department is having with its intervention programs and its stakeholders when it comes to the empowerment of young people. It needs to be quite demographically and geographically displayed for us to see where the greater impact is, and also for us to diagnose where we are having greater challenges. Also, in terms of sectors, how many sectors are we able to reach? What is the target that has been outlined? And has the department and its stakeholders been able to meet these targets? And I think most importantly is to also highlight where the department is having the greatest challenges in terms of ensuring that there's digital literacy and digital connectivity in our communities. And I think what strikes me is that we do not have a spread that shows which areas or which communities are greatly affected and are unable, and the department and the entities are unable to reach, and really state categorically what are those challenges so that we can start to see what the department's interventions have been and where they've had limitations, and going forward, how do they look to mitigate that? Chairperson, I'd like to also agree on the issue of network service providers, but also those who are providing broadcasting services. One knows that ICASA gives out the licenses, and I think I do agree with my fellow colleague when it says it is silent on community based platforms, and when those are the platforms that we need to be prioritizing and empowering, because they are closer to the ground, but they are able to create a sustainable economic ecosystem, creating employment opportunities. And I think we'd want to see what the challenges are in terms of increasing the number of licenses that are distributed, the local broadcasters versus the large-scale corporate, which would be, my colleague had said, your DSTV versus utilizing locally produced, broadcasting platforms. And one would want to say this is where we find ourselves as SABC having a challenge. Because we are unable to ensure that there's a facilitation to empower SABC to be plugged in each and every single household, while finding programs even through your SMMEs, your small business, your IDC, your DTIC, and other, funding mechanisms or organs who are able to then fund when it comes to connectivity, like ensuring that your business has access to Wi-Fi connectivity and is plugged into your DSTV. How can we utilize that opportunity and those resources where we are funding small businesses to then empower SABC, ensuring that even local content is then the one that is featured on those screens or on those network services that we are connecting. Second to last, Chairperson, I'm very concerned in terms of, yes, I see in NEMISA's program on digital literacy spoke about the empowering women, youth, and persons with disabilities. May I perhaps be given what exactly the breakdown looks like? How many young people, how many youth, and how many persons with disabilities? But lastly would be what is the plan for all those who presented in terms of targeting and ensuring that they're able to reach persons with disabilities, also taking into consideration and appreciating that the connectivity and technology is what enables persons with disabilities to be part of society. But I think we are seeing more content creators from the sector who do not have opportunity and space. We're seeing those who are unable to enter into the creative industry in terms of the digital space. We're seeing those who are looking for licenses, but the difficulty becomes on the red tape that is in place. What strategic or specific programs are in place for both the department and the stakeholders, your NEMISA, etc., when it speaks to targeted intervention programs for persons with disabilities for them to also be beneficiaries? Thank you very much, Chairperson, and apologies for taking too long.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Chauke Adonis. Let me thank all the members for your contributions. I have a few questions, and I think one or two that would have come from Honorable Ngubane as well. Maybe let me start off on the digital startup ecosystem. I had asked a question right at the beginning when I was introducing the topic, how the department distinguishes between ICT SMMEs and tech startups, because I think we'll all appreciate that they're different, they have different needs, they have different funding pressures. So how do you draw the difference, and who is your strategy directed to? So if we could just have clarity on that. And then I'm interested to find out, as was Honorable Ngubane, so when you speak about this ecosystem, how does it actually function from beginning to end? So if you were to draw a picture of us, how does an SMME come into this process? Who are the role players in terms of enabling? When does a startup begin to be connected, whether it's to a research institution or an incubation fund? What is the criteria you use in that regard? At which point do you coordinate, whether it is investors, venture capitalists, angel funders, whatever it is? So can you just draw for us the entire value chain from the beginning to the end? And then when it comes to the end, could you then speak to us about your impact matrices? So what do you use, both for Digitech as well as what you term the ecosystem as a whole? So how do you know you have been successful? Are you able to provide us with a report that speaks to those successes in terms of the matrices that you would have developed, which I'm sure you would have done right at the beginning? The Digitech platform, we went to look at it. Thank you for giving us the correct website address. Beyond listing, so do those companies, I don't want to call them startups because we don't know who's listing there. So do those companies that list on Digitech get any support beyond the fact that they've just listed? Linked to that, are you then confident that the critical areas that you identified right in the beginning of your presentation, which included amongst them appropriate incentive schemes, coordination, and integration of the system? How have you responded to that practically? And then just maybe just the criteria that you use for them to be listed on there. I may be repeating myself on these issues. Let me move to the issue of the analog switch off. South Africa has got 3.5 million registered indigent households, according to the last Statistics SA report. So Honorable Nchabeleng asked you how many set-top boxes you have installed. Thumbs up figure maybe, but you said around 1 million, or your target was 1 million. So what happened to the other 2.5 million registered indigent households? If you're saying you're cooperating with municipalities, why has it been difficult for you to engage on that registered indigent household database, where I would assume that already you've got 3.5 million households to begin with? Secondly, you are saying you want an additional 800 million rand to buy set-top boxes. Technology that by any standards is already updated. SABC has dumped DTT. They've moved to DTH. You still have not updated policy. Why do you think that you must continue with this thing of set-top boxes, which clearly is not working? You also said that you're trying to clean up the stock that was in the post offices. Can you tell us now how many set-top boxes are still lying around in post offices like the last time that we went there? E-News took you, or E-Media took you to court in March of 2025. Now, you said between December and March of 2025, you met with the broadcasters 3 times. to inform them about the cabinet decision, and I'm assuming 3 other times before they took you to court. Can we have the dates of when you met with them those 3 times between December and March, and also who attended them? Then can we get a sense that since the court ruling, your presentation is very vague, right? But you say the minister intends, then you say he's consulted. Which is it? Has the minister gone back to consult like the court told him to? Or you are still intending to consult? Because that was in March. We are sitting in September now. If he has consulted, can you give an indication who the minister has consulted, when did they consult, and who was present in that? We'd really like that information. You're also saying that you have a weekly meeting. When was the last meeting? Who attended and who regularly attends those meetings? We'd really like to get a sense of that. And then audited figures, these numbers and these graphs that you are putting here, né? If I was to look at it at face value, it means that you're saying you only have 200,000 households to go. Would it be correct then to say that the objection that e-media as well as SABC and a number of other broadcasters have, you are dealing with that situation that, with just 200,000 to go, you've been doing so great since beginning of the year, you've already done 2,000. Perhaps in the next couple of months, you would then be ready to switch off. If not, why not? And what are you doing about it? And I suppose my very, very last question is, given then the court outcome, the interdict, what have you done, all right, in line with the demands that the broadcasters were asking for? Because we are 6 months down the line, and we would really hope that there has been some movement. If you could be clear and specific, please. You have as much time as you need to respond, going up to 5 o'clock. So we don't want any of our questions not to be answered to the level of detail that we require. If you go up until 5 o'clock, we will defer the items to the next meeting. Thank you very much. DG, over to you.
Thank you, Chair, and to the honorable members for the questions posed to us. I'm going to attempt to start the response, and then I'm going to invite my colleagues. I think, Chair, in summary, based on also Honorable Chabeleng, and I think your question as well as other members, on the issue related to the indigenous households. So, Chair, you're correct that the Stats SA has measured the indigenous household in South Africa. But Stats SA does not tell you if those people are South Africans or not. They give you data on a registered indigenous household in South Africa. Now, the criteria for us, for people to qualify for the subsidy, and that maybe we need to clarify that as well. We would subsidize those who come forward to register. You can register now online on the SETA portal, or you can go to your nearest post office to do then the registration. Amidst all that, Chair, what then it means is that a household would have to then take that initiative to register. If you meet the criteria of then the combined income is 3,500 or less, you would get a subsidy. And that is then the distinction between what is there in terms of the total number of indigenous households vis-a-vis then the next level of criteria, those who then qualify, also those who presented them forward to then say, I need a set-top box. So that is then the number that we are looking at and moving. We are still, the registration is still on, and we have been encouraging the indigenous household as well as citizens to then say, please come forward and take up the scheme from government. Honorable Chabeleng, then in terms of the total number of households in South Africa, those are then broken down to, there are those who have self-migrated. Either they've taken up a commercial set-top box or a decoder, as we know it, or alternatively other channels. Then there is what we consider the missing middle. The missing middle are then the people who do not qualify who earn more than 3,500 per household against those who are still using analog platform. That missing middle, then it has been the social compact that the broadcasters took on to say, we will migrate these, and therefore it is the call for the broadcasters to make sure that they actually then encourage those customers of theirs to come and then migrate on to the digital platform. Notwithstanding, I agree with all the honorable members that it is so vital and critical for us to move on this migration. The platform that we have created, honorable members, as it has been asked both by Honorable Shongwe, Honorable Belisha, as well as Chabeleng, we saw that opportunity to say we can actually increase the local content in our country. And that is also going to now complemented with our creative industry, our master plan, as well as the audio and audiovisual draft white paper. And I'm going to elaborate further on that one. And those intentions by government are then saying, now that we've created this platform, now that we're moving on to even the other virtual platforms, we need to make sure that we generate and we encourage local content creative industry, local producers to come and fill up that platform. SABC, and I would like to invite the CE of Centec, because when we build up these multiplexes, as we call them, we created quite a number of them, I think up to about a number of 17 initially. And we said there's still an opportunity for us, meaning 17 channels, meaning that there's still an opportunity to create even more channels as time goes. But we've got to, that's the first step, that we've got to make sure that we're moved towards then this digital broadcasting. Then I would like to then say that the delays of that is obviously hindering on even just the overall progress of the country, of being vibrant in this creative and audiovisual world. And we would want to make sure that we're able to push forward on that. And that will create jobs. That will also create just SMMEs who are then able to think creatively, not just to be earned or to earning salaries as producers for the existing broadcasting industry, but for them to be able to move forward and thrive, and also in their own communities create or come up as a collab and create local content. We've seen that in other channels that you would see, and I'm not trying to sell them, but whether it's going to be your channel 157, etc., and even other channels that they've actually encouraging the local content. Part of the audio and audiovisual, our intentions, honorable members, is that we are now going to regulate this. We are now going to set minimum threshold, minimum criteria to ensure that there is a beneficiation for our local content. Some of that is then we're going to be collecting. And I know that there is resistance, but we want to collect a fund to support our creative industry as well as local content creators, in line with what was then being raised, as then to say, we see that there's these platforms that vibrate, they're vibrant in South Africa, but the beneficiation back to those who are on the platform already is we're not able to measure it, we're not able to see it. And this particular audio and audiovisual, with its regulation, is going to be able for us to have meaningful measurement. I'd like to hand over to our colleagues, if then they could come in, maybe starting off with on the startup, Ms. Jeanette, as well as Mr. Craig Mayer. Thank you.
Thank you, DG. In terms of the questions raised, starting with Honorable Chabeleng's point, I think on the issue around the beneficiaries of the program, they are South African, including the gentleman that was highlighted. And on the issue of massification, yes, I think it's a very important point. I think from the department side, in terms of our going forward approach, as I mentioned, is through this African Digital Transformation Center. It will then sort of assist us to come up with a comprehensive roadmap on how we can then massify the impact of these programs that we've been implementing. But to supplement that as well, what we've done is from a coordination point, we have collaborated with the other ministries that I mentioned, the Department of Small Business Development and the Department of Science, Technology and Innovation, and their entities, which is TIA, CSIR, and CETFA, and we've also included from the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition, the CIPC, to be on board. We have set up a steering committee where we meet on a monthly basis to make sure that we sort of align our programs and also address the issue that was mentioned by Honorable Singh around making sure that we create mechanisms where we can cross-reference, the funding provided for these SMMEs to make sure that the funding of government not only focus on funding the same kind of startups, but reach more startups and SMMEs, as well as other support provided, whether it's skilling interventions or interventions around providing them with infrastructure to then be able to operate. And with regards to the comment from Honorable Shongwe around monitoring of progress, I think the approach with the center will help us because through the ITU, we are then able to access some of their impact measurement and monitoring frameworks to then be able to help us monitor progress, because the thing with our sector is that we first service our ICT sector, but then we also look at supporting those SMMEs that want to use ICTs to grow their businesses, whether it's SMMEs that are in the agricultural space using ICTs to then expand their businesses. So the scope of work for us in this aspect is quite huge in that regard. And we take the point around also leveraging on the opportunity around the cell phone repairs program and making sure that it expands to more of our youth and sort of not focus on the current setup where most of the players in that space are foreign nationals. And then coming to the comment about from Honorable Keleshi around the strategy being updated, I think we do acknowledge that, and I think some of the key strategies and plans within the department, for example, the digital economy master plan recognizes that and it sort of proposes some interventions on how to make sure that we remain current in this space. On the issue of intellectual property and localization, I think before I mentioned that, I think the question that was raised by Chair in terms of what is the engagement process around supporting this SMMEs across the value chain. So what we do is through the platform, we get the startups registering, and then we receive the information, and we then set up one-on-one engagement with each startup just to interview them to determine what their solution is, what stage of the commercialization value chain they are, whether it's still an idea or they already have an innovation in a form of a prototype, or they are already more advanced and they are just looking at access to market. And once we've sort of done that mapping and identified where they are and what challenges they are currently facing, we then sort of look at sort of this bouquet of support interventions that we have created through partnerships and look at where we can place them to get support. And then for each partner, we also have regular engagement with them. We've set up sort of steering committees with them on a regular basis, where they also then come and present progress of where they are with the SMME, and then how we can support them. What we also help from the department side is also in terms of the access to market space. For example, if an SMME, for example, like soft meat, they had the solution and they wanted to engage with the Department of Education, so we facilitated the engagement with the Gauteng Department of Education, and that's where they were then able to be given an opportunity to roll out their solution to the learners in that area. So the engagement process sort of is taken on an individual startup basis according to their needs. So there's no one size fit all kind of approach. So also coming to the issue around then IP and localization, we also make sure that we determine whether they've already protected their IP, and if not, then we then facilitate engagements with the CIPC to make sure that that is done as well. I think on the issues around training and also strategy, DG, if you can allow me to ask Mlungisi to address those comments. And lastly, on the chair's question around the difference between ICT SMME and tech startup. The tech startup is an innovator that has developed a technology innovation, whether it's a software system or an actual digital technology, and the sort of ICT SMME, I would regard them as those that are sort of offering a service through ICTs. For example, someone who for example, someone who is in the broadband connectivity space, getting certain technology and rolling it out as a service, not actually innovating it. So that's how I would give a distinction of the two. But I will allow then my colleague Mlungisi to then expand on the issues around the digital skills aspect, and also I think some questions from the Honorable Sobriety around the strategy review. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Can I then invite DDG Sono and Dr. Mutubi?
Mr. Sono, Doctor, please do come in.
Thank you, Chair and DG. Maybe to start with the question from Honorable Chabeleng about the delays with the implementation of the program that relates to the registering of households. Chair, I should indicate that the process, this program, it's consumer reactive in the sense that the government has opened platforms for households to register. In this regard, the households since September 2015, the process was initiated by an awareness campaign that was launched in July 2015, subsequent to which the registration started in September 2015. And a number of awareness campaigns, including ministerial in were staged across different parts of the country, has happened where households were encouraged to register in order to receive government-subsidized decoders. Going forward to 2020-2025, Chair, and through engagement with the minister in 2023 towards switching off analog transmission services above 694. Broadcasters made requests that they also get involved, but I can also indicate before even that SABC has been playing a role in raising awareness around the matter of the program implementation, including encouraging households to register for these set-top boxes. In 2023-24, the broadcasters, including the community broadcasters, were appointed through USASA and were paid for that. A service level agreement was entered into to raise this awareness because there was indication that their viewers are not aware of the process. Addition to that, there was extensive awareness campaign that was run by SABC targeting all corners of the country to encourage households to register. Addition to that as well, Chair, was the introduction or the development of the online registration tool, which SITA developed, which you will also note from the report that the numbers in that online registration is very low as compared to that of walk-ins into post offices. Taking note of the closure of post offices, extensive awareness campaigns were done with provincial governments, district and local municipalities, to an extent that the DG convened several meetings with these structures to raise awareness and encourage them to talk to their constituencies in their respective communities to talk about the program that the government is running. In that regard, Chair, I want to indicate that it becomes difficult for the department to say come and register when the households sometimes do not want to come and register based on the information provided to them. But I can indicate, Chair, that that awareness campaign has been running since 2015. Platforms have been open since 2015 up until now. The second question regarding the indigent households, as in the 3.5 million, I think the very same response, Chair, talked to that aspect. I was in Northwest last week, and the councillors from Ngakamudiri and other municipalities were indicating that the process of digital migration through indigent registrations will also assist them in updating their their indigent register because theirs are not up to date. So we have tried this process to go to the municipalities and say, give us your indigent register. And we found them not having those indigent register to assist us with this process. That is what led us to go to State SA and request data containing indigent households that own that are watching television on analog platform. And that has also informed our strategy to raise awareness because we were informed by the numbers that were there with an intent to have everybody to register. But the number that we have as we speak are those households that have come forward to register for the set-top boxes. The question regarding the number of stock sitting in the SAPO warehouse, Chair, I should indicate that the stock that I will be providing here include the stock that is being returned by the installers for those households that they are not able to find. Currently, it's 79,287, 44,082 of which is DTT, and 25,205 is DTH stock. That is the data that we receive on a weekly basis. When was the last meeting, the weekly meeting? It was on the 9th, this Tuesday. Who attends this meeting, Chair? It's all the role-playing entities, Centex, SAPO, USASA, CETA. They participate in this meeting because they have to provide a report on their respective deliverables, indigent registration, installations, stakeholder engagement, procurement of decoders, and related matters. The question around what has happened since the to address the litigations, I've reported, Chair, earlier indicated on the report that Minister has mandated the legal team from the department to engage with the legal teams from the litigants. And that is an ongoing process that the legal teams are engaging, exchanging information between the legal teams in that regard. The question around the consultation meetings, Chair, we might perhaps be afforded opportunity to engage with our legal to understand how many meetings they had with the litigants legal teams regarding that. The other one, Chair, I think was about the 803 million. So this 803 million that we requested was informed by the shortfall emanating from the funding assessment in consideration of the current the current target of 447 that was presented to courts at the time, because we didn't have additional registrations from December, and the current registered households as well as projection for up until September 2025, with an estimated number of around 6,000. So, Chair, that is, I think I have responded to all the questions. Or who has the minister been meeting with? In the meetings that minister had, he has met with the broadcasters, including community broadcasters, ETV, SABC, and community broadcasters in the meetings that the minister has convened. Pre and post cabinet decision to postpone switch off from December to March 2025. The other one, Chair, talks to the challenge in the rural areas. Maybe I will also request that through yourself and the DG, the CEO from Centec to talk to that. But from the oversight monitoring that we conduct, Chair, when the installer gets some data of the installations that are happening, dates back before 2020. When installers gets into this household, they find households not available. Some have relocated. Some people have provided incomplete information on the registration forms that makes it difficult. You will note, Chair, that as I've indicated earlier, in instances where the post offices happen to close, the local municipalities, department officials used to take into the villages where maybe, for an example, over the weekend, community gathers on weekend. They are provided with forms, they complete, they are taken to the post office for capturing. So there are those areas where some forms have incomplete information, which is a matter that we have addressed through data cleaning with SITA, to an extent that we have gone to a point where when SITA does this, they provide data end to end from the full names, ID number, and everything, so that we can have the full details of where the people are residing. We have also written to the Minister of Home Affairs to give SITA access to a database that will also further assist in establishing areas where these households that we're not finding are residing, because of the thinking that the Home Affairs address might have recent information or accurate information about where these people are. But Chair, we again, when we receive this data from installers that a household so and so could not be found, we take this data to the local councillors, ward committees, to us and traditional authorities to assist us. A typical example, Chair, in one municipality in KZN, there is a Chief Nduna Butelezi who has assisted us to get those households, because they are residing in areas where some do not know each other, and through community meetings, they are able to do that. That is why we're now employing a strategy of installers getting into a village through the traditional authority or ward council. Chair and DG, if you perhaps may allow, if the CEO of USASA have input into this matter. Thank you.
Thanks, Doc. Sorry, before anybody else comes in to respond, can the information that you are going to get us with regards to the consultations be sought now? And we're not being facetious, colleagues, when we ask you this thing. It's at the heart of why e-news took you to court. It's at the heart of the fact that this process is not moving and you are blamed for lack of consultation. So I am sure you can check with your legal office, you can check with the minister's office. I am sure that you, like anybody else, will be preparing to defend yourself in case this matter comes up again. Hence, Nati, we want to be able to support you and say, we know that on this and this date, they consulted with this person, they consulted with SABC, they consulted with e-news and any other interested party. So can we request that you get that information and come back and report to us, please, during the course of this meeting? DG, I'm not sure who you wanted to bring on the platform. You may continue to do so.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I wanted to come in on this particular issue of the request on this particular matter.
The court matter, as you would know, it was ruled with regards to part 1. So part 2, Chair, is still under discussion, whilst obviously we're seeking to have a settlement out of court. So I would humbly request, Chair, that we are ready to respond on this, but I can see that we are on the public platform. We do have the parties who have taken us to court, also on the platform, as well as also watching this. If we can, we are happy to engage the members of the portfolio committee, but because this is still subdued, Chair, may we then request that we request either an in-committee or the matter can be sent to you through the Office of the Minister and our legal team accurately to yourselves for your preview. That is for your consideration, Chair. And either way, we still stand ready still to respond on this particular matter. I think the issue of who we consult for court, that we can make available here, along with then the discussions that we've been having in our weekly meetings. You asked who are the parties on the weeklies. We can circulate those to you, including because every week there are progress reports that we do table. We can send it to your offices as we speak now, but we're just going to request that it can then be restricted in terms of the information, Chair. That is our humble request on this matter. Thank you.
DG, I'll allow members to opine on this if they want to. But you gave us a report where you said you have met with them 3 times in December and March. We're asking the dates and who was there. Then, since the court judgment, which was in March, you've been telling us that the minister is consulting legally. Now, we are not asking the content of the consultations. Therefore, the sub judice argument does not arise. We are asking who has been consulted so that we know that there is such consultation. This process, just this year alone, has cost the taxpayer more than 600 million. We went out on a limb as a committee, even writing to the leader of government business, the president, begging on your behalf on this matter because we thought that it would then be fast-tracked, accelerated, and completed. Now, it can't be that 6-7 months down the line, you cannot even tell us what you have done since you were interdicted. You keep saying you're trying to get it out of court. So we just want process. We're not dealing with content matters. But if any other member wants to come in, they may do so. And if the members think we must stand down on it, we may also do so. I'll take. There being no comment, DG, please, we request that you do get us the information. The next speaker may come in, please.
Chair, there's a comment.
You may come in, Honorable Ntshabele.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, we can't stand the matter down because this is a real issue and the department cannot give us excuses for something that is so basic. We're not asking for discoveries of documentation and stuff. We're asking for something plain and simple. And it looks like we're being sent into circles on this matter. This is a really great concern issue. It affects our people. It affects our government public funds and the way they're spent. And at this rate, when we are already getting excuses, it doesn't satisfy us in terms of the work that we have to do as public representatives. So we really want to get clarity on this matter. Some of the questions which were posed and the answers, we need to change the format whereby we're going to have to talk to the officials face to face, even online, so that we can get the right answers. They really go back and try to turn our questions as if they are stupid questions, and we are people who don't know stats and information, as well as data that we are talking about. We come up with fundamental information and they just ridicule it. This is not acceptable and it cannot go on like this. We want these answers, and please, can we be respected and be given this opportunity to get proper information? This program has been going on for years. It's almost a 2-decade program running, and so far it's showing the lack of proper delivery on it. And it's unacceptable. We stand and we are very clear on this one that our people deserve the best. The departments have no shortage of any resource. It is just the performance and the lackluster management that we are seeing happening. That's my input, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Ntshabeleng. I had seen the CEO of Centec. I think he was going to come in which case, CEO, you are welcome. And I'm assuming that the issues that members raised also about the obsolescence of the technology, you would also be able to opine on. Thank you, CEO, over to you.
Thank you very much, Chair, and the committee for the questions. Yeah, I'll be contributing on two parts, Chair, of the discussions. I think, the first part relates to the challenges that the installer and installations faces on the ground, as it was presented by Dr. Mutuvi. The first part, the main contributor from a challenge point of view is that some of the data dates back, Chair committee members. So you will find that our installers, when they get on the ground, it's a small portion of the beneficiaries are deceased already. And then the second part is where the beneficiaries have moved. As you'll understand, in the cities, some of these beneficiaries, are renting facilities and houses and the likes. And the third part being, and associated with this, will be the changed contacts, Chairperson. There is an element of also outright rejection by households. When the installer get there, the household says, no, I am no longer interested. I have found a better alternative. And therefore, the installations cannot be concluded. And then the greater part of it is unidentifiable as a result of addressing approach in some area, Chairperson. What our installers had reported, in some instance, you'll just find an address stating a location of an area, like a village. So there'll be no street, there'll be no house name, and sometimes the numbers have changed as well. But it is a smaller portion of the overall numbers. We look at it, it amounts to about 6%. So it is an important number, though not significant in that regard. What we do about it is to refer it back to SAPO and the process of engaging the community through the local government and the councillors there. Some of it we do get those households and process back that installations, Chairperson. The second part where the DG wanted me to come on was on the utilization of the build high roads for DTT migration. So from a technology provision point of view and capacity creation, we have built a Centec capacity to accommodate the public broadcaster in what is called Multiplex 1 to the extent of 85% of that capacity, and community broadcaster to the extent of 15% as per the regulations from ICASA. Now, I think one of the members posits a very important point here, that the creative industry and content developers should be enabled and empowered to contribute towards content development. And we do agree and align with that an empowerment approach will also drive digital migration, because it is a compelling content and a compelling offering that drives adoption of digital migration. Even in other countries, a household makes a decision on the basis of what they see being of value to engage with in that regard. So it does have impact. We agree with that aspect that there's certainly an opportunity to increase content there. The maxes at this point, Chair, committee members, are utilized up to about 50% of the content provision, which does demonstrate that there is a gap and opportunity there. And then, I think in the main, I just wanted to reflect on that issue, and maybe just where there are higher rejections in terms of, I have an alternative already. It's in the Eastern Cape, KZN, Limpopo, and Western Cape. Those economically active provinces, the numbers are a little bit higher there, and the other more rural provinces, the rejections are far less, Chairperson. And I hope this gives further context. Thank you.
Any other additions, DG?
Yes, Chair. Thank you very much. I do have just additions, Chair. I think there were two questions that you have asked. And as I indicated that as a department, we are willing, as the decision stands off then sharing. We have weekly meetings. I'm going to ask Dr. Mutubi to give you a breakdown of what we have done. Those weekly meetings, I think honorable members were asking who is party to it. Because as I said, the matter is still, our intent is that the broadcasters will be brought on. At the moment, the engagements are between the department, USASA as the fund distributor, Centec, both as a signal distributor as well as responsible for the installation. We also have SAPO with regards to both registration as well as the warehousing, and we also have CETA chair, who is also responsible for the. I'm going to request then if Dr. Mutubi can just give you an overview with regards to where we're at, because as I said, on weekly, we track the progress with regards to installation, we track the progress to registration, and also then the depleting of the stock, and also this particular matter related to how do we make sure that every single the recipient or indigenous household who has registered and qualifying receives a set-top box. Dr. Mutubi, are you ready to give the projection? In the meantime, Chair, I think you were then asking the secondary question, which I'll come back to you with regards to the consultations prior to the legal court case, which we'll come back to you on that one. Thank you. Dr. Mutubi, I think you are muted. Just unmute.
Thank you, DG. I just want to take through the committee on through you, Chair, the progress that we track on a weekly basis. So we have SAPO responsible for registrations of indigent households and CETA. We have Centec that is currently responsible for installation management. And we also have USASA that is responsible for funds management of the program. So on a weekly basis, we meet and receive update from the. So this meetings started on the 4th of February 2025. So we have been having this meeting since then on a weekly basis. So this is the report of the 9th of September, as I'm projecting, just to reflect on the process that we are tracking. As I've indicated that from what we have, we have made progress in that regard. So this reflects the statistics for indigent households that were registered, the stock that we're depleting on a weekly basis. As you can see from the bottom left, 31,000 has been issued, 20,000 collected, and that is the stock, the 9,000 that installers are collecting. In this morning, I saw additional 10,000 having been issued by SAPO. So this is how the process runs. We get stock taken from Vetspos this is the depletion of stock. Vetspos in Johannesburg to be taken to Limpopo, for an example. This tracks the returns that we are accumulating from the process as we have reported, and also the analysis of how the data looks like in terms of reasons behind the returns. So this is what I have just indicated, the stock level at sub post offices. That is why I'm able to pick this data and reflect on it. And then we have Centec that is dealing with the issues of installations. As I've indicated on the other one, on a weekly basis, this is what we do. This is the trend of cancellations from the previous week and the other weeks. The trend analysis, as I presented before, reflecting the current data. This is the monthly tracking that we do, and
Sorry, Doc. Sorry, Doc. I seem to get the sense that we are repeating the presentation. We had gotten all of this already, unless we are missing something. Dr. Muturi?
Chair, I think I have lost you. Maybe I have the network buffer.
Sorry, I was saying I'm getting the sense that we are repeating the presentation. We got all this detail already. If there's no other issues, and because of time, if there's no other issues from the DG, I just want to check with the members if there's any final follow-ups before we get to 5 o'clock.
Sorry, yes, Chair. I thought sorry, Dr. Mutubi, can you just put it back up? I think the most important slide, Chair, is about the installation rate. Just to show then the traction, as I said, from March up until where we're at today, in terms of the additional number of decoders that we have, and obviously seeing the movement to now us being down to 200 from 447 to now being to the 200,000 plus outstanding. So that is basically, maybe that is what is important. I've also seen on the chat the issues with regards to that awareness has stalled. Yet I just want to give an assurance that awareness drive continues as well. We continuously provide awareness across, and we can provide even further details as indicated that the team is continuously on the ground. Our focus primarily is within the 4 provinces that we have not switched off, but notwithstanding the cleanup, because what we are trying to get to is then the 100%. So we're still doing further installations in Limpopo, in Northwest, sorry, as well as in Free State. And then awareness drives aggressively are then taking place within Gauteng, and especially in KwaZulu-Natal, Eastern Cape, as well as Western Cape, Chair. Sorry, there's a hand from Honorable Chauke. Oh, can I proceed?
Thank you, co-chairperson. Finish, and then I'll call in Honorable Chauke. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. So those were some of the programs that we are doing. We've also got SLA honorable members with our broadcasters, as including the community broadcasters in the provinces that we still have analog switch off on. And I'd like to then still hand back to Dr. Mutubi just to further elaborate with regards to then those particular SLAs and the role that both the public broadcaster and those community broadcasters do as part of also then the awareness campaign. Thank you.
Yeah, through you, Chair, again, we had these service level agreements with the broadcasters, but post March 2025, due to financial constraints, we could not continue with those service level agreements could not be extended because of funding challenges. The focus was meant to ensure that those that have registered are installed, and that is why those could not be extended. And in this regard, Chair, we part of the request that we have made to National Treasury is to ensure that this work of awareness through the broadcasters continues. But this work did not stop because we are, as the department, in collaboration with municipalities on the ground and traditional authorities engage in this meeting. For an example, the municipalities calls us to engage with them through their forums, communicators forums and other forums that they have at local level.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mutube. Honorable Chauke Adonis.
Thank you very much, Chair, and apologies. I had thought perhaps you were calling for the last follow-up questions. I'm not sure if I heard you correctly. That's why I had raised my hand. Apologies, Chair.
You are correct, Honorable Chauke Adonis. I do want us to try and put this matter to rest as much as possible. So you may ask your follow-up and Honorable Strongway. Then I will ask, unfortunately for her, I saw her on the platform. I'll ask the CEO of the SABC to just indicate, since they were vehemently opposed to the switch off, if they are now in a better space before then we close the meeting. So you may proceed, Honorable Chauke Adonis.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and also appreciating, I guess, the responses that we have received and the clarity on some of the questions. Obviously, not to the full satisfaction of what we're asking. I did hear the issue in terms of being able to reach indigent household. Now, I just wanted to find out, outside of the stakeholders that the department alluded to, is there any other cross departmental collaboration, such as collaborations in ascertaining data from your social development through SASSA, through the finance industry, through your banking systems, etc.? What other avenues are they exploring currently in order for them to access this data? Because one would think it should not be that much of a challenge if we do have data that is stored through Home Affairs, stored through social development, etc., in order for them to comb through them without necessarily only relying on the municipalities and councillors, etc. The second question, Chairperson, and I think I appreciate that you've noted that the CEO of SABC is on the platform. It would be on the cross collaboration with platforms such as your SABC, your GCIC, and other platforms that we have, your SABC, I think it's SABC Plus, your SA Connect, etc., in order for us to have more awareness raising campaigns and also collaborations with stakeholders or platforms such as the NYDA to reach, indigent households that are, child or youth-led household, etc. And also the collaboration with your local broadcasters, such as your radio stations, etc. What does that actually look like? And what is the investment in that? The last follow-up question, I heard that there is an issue in terms of resources. Would this mean then the department did not adequately plan and therefore they were unable to renew the memorandum of agreement? Or does it mean that they overspent and under budgeted when they were doing the cost analysis, but also the risk analysis? One would want to know if there was mismanagement or there was not adequate planning in order for us to ensure that the budget was sufficient and would be able to sustain the program. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chauke Adonis. Honorable Shongwe. Switch off that video under an umbrella, Honorable Nchabeling. The time is gone. Honorable Shongwe.
I'm going to ask a question, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I'm coming in Chabeleng. What out of order, Chair? Chair, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Honorable Shongwe.
I was saying I'm covered by Honorable Chauke, Chair. But if I may steal your time, Chair, and take your breath back, the presentation today of the department was giving good vibes in terms of the numbers. But when probe of the numbers going forward, they are not giving us. I'm not convinced by their numbers now. So I'm now interested in possible. Can we also have the SMM? Sorry, if we may have the SMMEs invited in Parliament so that they can collaborate the numbers that we are giving here and have their side of the story with this exciting numbers that we.
I think we lost Honorable Shongwe, but we got the gist of what he was saying. Honorable Mshabele, you're the last.
Chair, thank you so much. I think from my side, much more the appreciation on the fact that we got an honest presentation with all its problems. The point is now just to make sure that we can really move beyond these problems and actually get to implementation of all of these things and ensure that this program is successful. There are major concerns, but I think after GovTech this weekend, this whole week, we are quite hopeful and we thank the stakeholders and really the department and the entities for the work they've done to give us and grant us more hope on the GovTech delivery. Going forward, I think if we all work together, we must deliver to our people. Really, at the end of the day, we are saving the most affected, the most indigent. And like I kept asking, the numbers of the indigent, they are the most affected and they must become the most beneficiaries. So let's work together to correct these mistakes that are happening. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nchabele. I'm told CEO SABC had to step out, so can we ask the COO of the SABC if they can just comment now on their state of readiness for analog switch off? Honorable Subrati, in less than a minute, please, before we move to the COO.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, let me also, before we conclude, just want to indicate that in our debate this afternoon, in our declaration, the African National Congress also congratulated DCDT and CETA on putting together a wonderful GovTech 2025. There was significant amount of learning from it, and I think there's a lot of hope from what we have seen. One of the things that came through in one of the breakaways that I was part of, and maybe this is something that DG and the department could respond, is the question was asked is what is the digital opportunities in South Africa? We say that this is a huge sector that can absorb a lot of young people. So what is the opportunities, but more importantly, broken down into the different skill sets? Another element that came in, skill sets, not necessarily for graduates, those who can access training through certification courses, etc. It's a huge market, but the question is what is the capacity? So I think the question was we needed to get a deep down, different skills, different opportunities in terms of numbers. And then the last input that was coming in is we're constantly having to import digital skills. And this is something we need to reverse in South Africa. We need to scale our training of young people. We must be in a position where we can export digital skills, not where we need to import digital skills. But I thought I'll deposit that learning because that's something that talks to one of the apex priorities, and that is to reduce unemployment. And I'll pause there. Thank you so much, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Subrati. COO?
Good afternoon, Chairperson. Good afternoon to the honorable members. Good afternoon to the Director General and the team from the department. And good afternoon to all the colleagues that are on the platform. Chair, if I may, let me apologize for the Group Chief Executive Officer for the SABC. She had to step out of the meeting. She had another emergency meeting that she needed to attend to. Just on the presentation, Chair, from the department, as I think the committee members also have seen, the SABC hasn't been part of most of the sessions, and therefore most of the information that has been presented today is also fairly new to them as well. And the last time we tried to speak to the department through the BDM PMO office, it was in May, and they had promised to come back to the SABC. So what will happen, Chair and the committee members, is that we will reach out again to the department so that we can get the latest information. and then we will take it from there, Chair. But just for the record, most of the information is also fairly new to the SABC. So we will then reach out to the department and the PMO and then see how far the progress has been. Thank you very much. I will end there.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Lindsay. DG, can you respond to the two questions that were raised? The questions that were raised from the members as follow-ups, and then any last words from yourself, please?
Okay, thank you, Chair. I think Honorable Chauke was asking what happens then. The reason we are now in the new financial year, honorable members, so our budget in terms of this project, as we have clearly indicated, and that's why we've made an application for the additional budget, was for this project to have ended on the 31st of March. And so everything, it's not that there was an over expenditure or an underspend expenditure, Honorable Chauke, to give you an assurance, but it was then, and as you know, the court has therefore decided to extend the process of this project. What was still left behind was purely then the available funds for these additional set-top boxes. Because, as I said, it has always been the intent of government to say, we will ensure the migration of those households who have registered. So the 447,000, our intentions are that we're still going to install the set-top boxes on them. When then the court decided to extend, we were faced with then the predicament of then looking for budget, and that is why we made this application to National Treasury for then the unforeseen and unavoidable. We are hoping and awaiting for the outcome of that. It is going to be deliberated around October, and it will be presented through obviously the appropriation budget in Parliament. So we're waiting keenly for that, as you know that we would now need to continue. In our budget breakdown, honorable members, you would see that we have catered therefore for the extension of this particular project, along with all the key enablers for us then to ensure that we do migrate. As indicated, and I think as the SABC has, we have, through our lawyers, indicated that we are intending to settle the matter. We do want to resuscitate fully what was then the steering committee. The steering committee included the broadcasters and other critical stakeholders. And so our intent is that the sooner we are able to reach the settlement, the sooner we'll be able to get back in terms of then making sure that we move collaboratively together. As indicated, the issue is that I'm sorry, I'm distracted by the comment on the chat. We'll respond to the member of Mr. Karen, who's asked. The issue is for us, it's that if we are really going to be successful on this project, honorable members, it does call on all parties, that is the broadcasters, to ensure that the missing middles are migrated, as well as for government to ensure that the indigenous households do have the set-top boxes. But more than anything else is that at the end of it, as I said, the analog switch off is only the start of this vibrant audio and audiovisual industry to thrive, for us to ensure that now we're on board the creative sector, the local producers, local content creators, and create platforms for them to be able, for us to have real stories in South Africa, to have showcase the real talent, and also then to have meaningful local industry that can thrive on that. So that is our intention, and that's where we would like to get on. If there are other alternatives, as I said, we again working ours as a responsible department in terms of looking also at the broadcasting sector, is also to looking at what is the future of broadcasting in our country. and to safeguard that and to make sure that it really is becoming a meaningful sector as well. So that is the intent, and we continuously engage with all stakeholders outside, as I said, of this particular matter. And those engagements do take place as well. I think we welcome the proposal or the suggestion by Honorable Shonge, where to invite the SMMEs. Yes, they are there, Honorable Shonge, and we'll provide you the full listing, as I said, of all of them who have either participated through the program. The questions that were asked earlier on, Chair, with regards to the fact that where are they, where have we seen the impact? I must be honest, Chair, that because of these other fiscal constraints with regards to funding, the department has not as yet. Our intention, again, with regards to the repurposing of the USAF is to turn it into a digital development fund. That digital development fund also then caters to then say, we have to make sure that we set aside funding to support local innovation. And we're hoping that would take place. Over and above that, we are working with our sister departments, those especially like CEDA, which are obviously responsible for SMME, as well as then the local economy, to then say, how can we make sure that we support these SMMEs as well as the startups? Chair, I'm hoping that I've addressed the questions if I've missed any, including, Chair, I think the questions that were posed earlier, which we are going to make sure that as a department we respond in writing to, and you would have those answers as members of the portfolio committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, DG. We have run out of time, and apologies, I've just moved places, so I can't switch off my video. I'm not going to make long closing remarks, except to firstly thank you for the two presentations. I do believe that both matters need to be scheduled again as soon as possible. We keep asking for written responses, we never get them, so it's perhaps prudent that you come and you present to the committee. I just want to say that on the digital startup ecosystem, there's obviously a lot of issues that we're not responded to. And that is what will then be the focus of the next discussion that we have on this matter. On the analog switch off, when we asked you to present, we said state of readiness for analog switch off. We listened to you, we still don't have a state of readiness. We don't know when you are saying that you'll be in a position to switch off. We are worried about your numbers. I appreciate Honorable Nchabeleng's conciliatory tone, and I'm happy that he feels hopeful, but we don't have a sense. When is the cutoff date? Are you working collaboratively towards the cutoff date? Are you responding to the issues that have been raised in successive court judgments? My personal view is that you have not in this meeting given us any assurance of that. The members did say, I think it was Honorable Shongwe, that he's not sure about the numbers and he wants the SMMEs to also be told. I think we need to expand that and get BRM, Broadcasting Research, those guys, to come and present to us the latest figures, because the last time we were supported by that research that gave us an indication. We will take legal advice whether we should also ask the broadcasters to be present in the meeting, since you cannot tell us when you met with them. And we'll take legal advice whether as a parliament we should be asking them when they will be ready to switch off. Colleagues, this matter has gone on for far too long, and you are asking again for almost R1 billion. The portfolio has no money. Now money that could have gone to settle the Centec debt, you now need to ask for more money for set-top boxes which are 15 years old. So let me just leave it there. Thank you very much. Honorable members, I'm sorry that we went a little bit later than we were scheduled, and I apologize that we've had to defer some items, but we'll make sure that they get into the term very early next term. I therefore would like to declare the meeting closed and appreciate your time. You have a good evening and a good weekend.
Have a great chair. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Weekend.
Chair. Thank you, honorable
Okay,
members.
colleagues. Bye, Chair.
Long
Thank
live the
you.
chair.
Our great chair.
May she long live.
Indeed.
Le-BMIT yakhona
Good
ukuthi ithini.
Friday, all.
Enjoy your Friday, guys, and the weekend.